How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Beam Review. Today we're going to be going over all the different ways that you can solve BMW problems, glitches, and issues. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, Beam Review, what we do here is showcase every single BMW. We also do some really cool hidden tips, tricks, and features reviews. So if that's something that you want to learn about, feel free to subscribe to the channel because we put out content every single week. So everyone, for this video, we're going to be going over all the different secret troubleshooting tips that you can do if you're ever having BMW issues. Before we get started, we did want to mention these really cool BMW key fob covers. Check out these on the Amazon links right down below at the end of the video. They are selling like crazy, and make sure you get a pair for your key fobs as well. We compiled a whole list of all the different tricks that you can do to fix phone connection issues, even your sunroof, and many other software glitches that you might encounter. Again, we do have separate videos on how to fix things like phone connection issues, but for this list, we're going to be going over even more problems, issues, and glitches that you might encounter. Now, one of the things that I will say is make sure you watch the whole video because you are going to eventually encounter one of these issues if you have owned a BMW for a long time. So it is very valuable that you do know each of these little fixes. So that will save you a whole trip from going to the dealership, and you can fix many of these all by yourself. First off and foremost, if you do not know about this feature by now, you are completely missing out. This is probably going to be one of the most important tricks that you need to know on how to fix phone connection issues, Apple CarPlay issues, Bluetooth issues, and even many of the issues that you may get on iDrive 8, such as a frozen screen or even some type of glitch that might be in the system. Now, of course, we're going to mention this cool little volume knob here. There are many different ways that you can use this, and in fact there's actually 4, and we're going to be covering all 4 of them. But for the most part, the main thing that you need to know about this volume knob is, yes, not only can you use it to adjust the volume, but if you hold this down for about 30 seconds or until the screen goes black, what this will do is simply reboot or refresh the whole iDrive system, and that will help clear out any glitch that you might be encountering. It does take a little bit, but again, as soon as the screen goes black, just like that, that's whenever you can let go. At this point, you don't have to do anything. Just wait for the whole system to refresh itself. And then once it does, go ahead and try to connect your phone again, or check to see if whatever glitch you were encountering within the system is now gone or fixed. Again, always try that first. It is one of the main things that we do all the time, and you should take advantage of that too. Now for this one, it is also quite valuable to know about this too, but say for example, if your sunroof ever needed to get recalibrated, or if for whatever reason it was not working properly, there is a way that you can recalibrate the whole sunroof as well. This is a very valuable trick to know if you ever encounter a sunroof issue. The way that you do that is that you simply hold the sunroof button in and hold it down for about 30 seconds until the sunroof starts to recalibrate itself. Now, I'm gonna fast forward the video at this point because 30 seconds on YouTube feels like forever. So let's go ahead and fast forward this.
Much later.
And as you can see, a notification just popped up on my screen. And now I'm going to continue to hold this the whole time down, and the sunroof is going to recalibrate itself, fixing any sunroof issue that you might encounter. But yes, hold it down the whole time until the sunroof goes back to a starting position, which is going to be this, and then you can let go. And that is how you reset the sunroof. For the next one, it is going to be update apps and services. Now, this one is very useful if, say, for example, you just purchased something from the Connected Drive store, such as remote engine start, or if you feel that one of these apps that should be inside your system are not showing up yet, you can also do this cool little trick called update apps and services. This is also very useful if, say, for example, you were having issues with your My BMW app. So definitely give this a try if you're having BMW issues, especially related to the software. Now, this is iDrive 8. If you do have iDrive 7, there is a different way to do this. So what you're going to do is, if you're looking at this iDrive 7 screen, all the way down at the bottom, you're going to see apps. Once you go into apps, all you're going to do is hit this option key that is located right over here. And then once you do that, you're going to see update apps and services pop up on the screen, and then go ahead and select that and wait for the whole system to do its thing. If you have iDrive 8, which is going to be this guy here, you want to go into your main menu right over here, and then you just want to scroll all the way over to where it says system settings. Once you're in system settings, scroll all the way down to where it says update apps and services. You're going to see that right over here. Once you do that, you're just going to tell the car to search for updates. And as you can see, it is searching for updates. And again, this is really useful if you're having iDrive 8 issues. If, say, for example, you're not seeing an app, or if something is not updating properly, go ahead and give that a try and see what happens. Now, this next one is very secretive, and I will recommend not doing this one unless you really have to, because it could do a factory reset inside the whole vehicle, so you would lose all your data. But just like number 1, if you were to hold this down for 30 seconds, well, there is another step to this. That is much more of a hard reboot or a hard reset. So watch out for it. Again, I would not recommend doing this only if you really had to. But say for example, you were having some major connection issues or system issues within the iDrive, you can hold this down for up to 90 seconds, and then that will do a much more hard reboot within the BMW, and that could potentially solve your issue. But again, for the third time, I would not recommend doing that unless you really had to. For the next one, if you're having phone connection issues or even software issues for this one, you can do a software update. Now, there are a couple of ways to do a software update, and if you want to do that, you would simply in iDrive 8 go into your menu, and then you would want to go into system settings once again. And then if you scroll all the way down to where we saw update apps and services, if you were to scroll up just a little bit, you're going to see remote software upgrade. Now you can have your car search for upgrades. Again, the vehicle will do this all by itself. But if you were experiencing a technical glitch, it is going to be wise to make sure you try to make sure that your vehicle is up to date. And just so you know, the updates on BMWs are subscription based. So it is only good for 4 years from the life of the vehicle. So definitely keep that in mind. You can resubscribe to that. And the last time I checked, I do believe it was about $120 a year. But again, not only do you get free software upgrades with that, that will also make sure that you can still use the app, get traffic jam information, and even map upgrades. Now, speaking about software updates and upgrades, whatever you want to call it, many people have been experiencing an issue where they cannot do a software update on their car or even through their My BMW app. For some reason, these updates will just show on your My BMW app or even on here that the car is ready for a update, but for some reason it is not doing that. There are a couple of things that go into play, and again, many do not know about these that go into play. But if you are trying to do a software update on your BMW, a couple things you have to make sure that are happening. First off and foremost, you have to make sure that you are not parked on a hill. You have to be on a flat surface. Next up, you also have to make sure that your headlights are off. So definitely, if you're trying to do a software update, just make sure your headlights are off. And next up, you have to make sure that there are no USB connections within the car as well. Lastly, the biggest thing that you have to make sure about your car, if for whatever reason you're having a software update issue, is that you have to make sure that your battery has a good charge on it. Many times, if people are having an issue with software updates, more likely than not, it's going to be because their battery is more old. And the way that you would have to bypass that is that, yes, you would have to bring your vehicle into service, and then there would have to be a manual upgrade done in order to resolve that issue. Probably one of the biggest questions that we get about BMWs is whenever people park in their garage and then they turn off their car and then they get out, they notice that their screens are still on and their lights might still be on, and they tend to stay on for a very, very long time. There are a couple of ways to resolve that. The biggest and most original way to do that is if you were to exit your vehicle, you would have to lock your vehicle, and then that will resolve that issue. It will turn off the rest of the car, the rest of the screens whenever you lock it, so keep that in mind. The other thing that you can do that many do not know about is that if you were to open your door, and again, if the screens are still on, you could basically hold down the volume knob for 3 seconds, and then the screens will turn off. As you can see, that is one way to turn off the screens without even having to lock your vehicle. But again, it is recommended that you just simply lock your vehicle whenever you're done with it. If you were having key fob issues, more likely than not, your key fob is dead, unfortunately. There is a way to fix that. Of course, you can change the battery, but a couple things that you need to know about the key fob is that there is a button right over here that you can remove. If you have seen my other videos lately, more likely than not, you already know about this, but it is quite worth mentioning because you can push that button and then you can pull out this manual key. Now, this manual key can go into the side of the door handle, and then you can use that manual key to unlock it. And then the part that many people do not know about is that even though this key fob is dead, you can place it right behind here where we have the steering wheel, right over there where you see this little picture. You can hold it there, and then you can use your other hand to start the vehicle. And then what that will do is still, even though the key fob is dead, the vehicle will start. Again, if you want to change the battery on this, there is a way to do it. You will simply just have to pull out this back cover that is located right here. You can push and pull on this little piece right here, and what that will do is simply take off the back covering of your key fob. As you can see, the key fob battery is right there, and you can fully remove this whole cover. As you can see, the key fob is right over here, and that's what you would replace if your key fob was dead. Oh, and just to mention it, if you weren't sure on where to plug in your manual key into the door handle, it is going to be this little cutout right here. Now, whatever you do, do not try to go like this. That is not the proper way to take that out. The way that you would do that is that you have to pull back on the door handle, and then you would have to stick your finger behind there, and then that will remove this little cutout right over here. Let me demonstrate. Yes, as you can see, I have my finger right back here, and then I could just simply pop that out. Oops. Now for this next one, it is going to be the issue where the vehicle turns itself off whenever you open the door. Now the reason why this happens is because the vehicle is in its ready state, as you can see from right there. Now all that simply means is that the vehicle's engine is off in order to save gas. If it's in that state, and if you open the door, 100% the vehicle will completely turn off. If you want to open the door while the engine is still staying on, what you have to do is make sure your vehicle is not in that ready state or in that gas saving mode. So what you could do is a few things. You can have the vehicle in sport, or you could blip the throttle, or you could have the vehicle while it is in drive, shift it over to the sport mode and then switch it back so that the engine is on, running, and then you can open your door and then the vehicle will still stay on. So let me demonstrate. I'm simply just going to blip the throttle and that is going to turn on the engine. As you can see, the engine is now on, and now if I go ahead and open the door, then the engine will still remain on, and then I could go grab my mail and then come back here and then the car will still be running. And just to demonstrate it, as you can see, if the vehicle is still in the ready state mode, if I open the door, that will turn off the whole vehicle. And now watch and see. As you can see, the engine's just turned off. The vehicle is completely off, and did that because it was in its ready state. This next one is not so much BMW related, but it is more phone related, and more specifically going to be for the iPhone for this video. But again, Android phones do also have this as well, and that is going to be a hard reboot or hard reset on your iPhone or Android. Now, I only have one phone right now, and it is the one that I'm recording right now. So this, we're going to pretend to be an iPhone. Now, say for example, if you were having phone connection issues, more likely than not, if you've already tried the steps where you try to use the volume knob to do that refresh, the next step that you could do is not only make sure that your iPhone is up to date with the latest software, but there is a way to do a hard reset on the iPhone as well. The way that you do that is, let's just say for example, if our volume knobs were here, you would press volume up and then you would press volume down, and then you would hold the side button the whole time until the phone goes completely black. Once the phone goes completely black, then you can remove your finger and then you just wait for the phone to reset itself. I did have to use this yesterday, and it did solve the trick, and it did solve a issue where the iPhone was having a hard time trying to connect to the BMW system. So definitely give that a shot if you're having phone connection issues. Again, in general, that is also a great way to fix issues with your iPhone as well. The next one is going to pertain to our My BMW app issues. As of lately, the BMW's app has been giving some recent issues here and there, but there are a couple fixes that you could do. Number one, obviously try to reinstall the app, see if that fixes the issue. The other thing you could do is, say for example, if your BMW app was not updating its location on the phone on the app, what you do is just make sure you have your privacy settings enabled. So for this one, just go into your BMW and go into the settings where it has the privacy information. All you would have to do is simply go into your BMW ID, which is going to be located inside your iDrive system. So for the iDrive 8, we're going to go into the main menu here, and then it's going to be the very first one, BMW ID. Now, for mine, it is not going to show it, but of course, you should have your own BMW ID. If you come into this section of the screen right here, you're going to see settings, and then once you go into settings, simply just scroll down until you see data privacy. Now, on data privacy, you simply just want to make sure that all the services are allowed. A good reason why BMW app might not be receiving data is because in that data privacy screen, you might not be letting the car transfer its data to the app because your privacy settings were set to a limited amount. So you have to enable all services in order for the app to fully work in that sense as well. Give that a shot if the app is still giving you issues. Another thing that you could do is you could actually call BMW Assist. Now, I will say with BMW Assist, they are great, but sometimes the wait times can be a bit on the long side. So definitely keep that in mind. BMW Assist is a great help to get help with any BMW app connection issues. They also have their own IT team that can issue a ticket as well to resolve the issue as well. The next one is going to be another common issue that we run into all the time, and that is if you're getting a car wash, you're going to see that the car is going to make tons of beeping sounds because the brushes of the car wash are going to be surrounding the whole vehicle, and so the car's sensor system is simply just going to go crazy. If that happens, all you have to do is hit the P with the cone button, which is going to stand for parking assistance right over here, and that will deactivate the system. Now let me demonstrate. I'm going to put the car into reverse so it makes the beeping sounds. As you can see, the car is making the beeping sounds. Now let's just imagine if we were in a car wash, we want that beeping sound to stop. All you would have to do is just hit the P right here, and then that will deactivate that system. If your vehicle is hitting the 4-year mark and you're having issues, more likely than not, your subscription with BMW is expired and you have to renew that. All you have to do is go into your BMW Connected Drive account and then you can resubscribe to it. I will say for the most part, I have been seeing this service being enabled for a additional $120 a year. But not only would you get things like traffic jam assistant and real-time updates, but you would also get map updates. You would also get to use your My BMW app as well. And you would also get software updates as well. So it is worth having the Connected Drive service. And again, if your vehicle is hitting the 4-year mark, more likely than not, that service has more likely than not has expired. So all you have to do again is just go onto the store, then you can renew that. The next one is going to have to do with remote start. Now, remote start is only going to be available if your country allows it. Here in the US, we definitely love it here and it's great that we have it. But if you were having issues with it, again, there are 2 ways to do it. If you hit the BMW lock button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, that is one way to do remote start from your key fob. More importantly, you can do remote start from your app as well. If you notice that for whatever reason it is not working, a couple of things may go into play, and what you would have to do is you would have to go enable the service first. You would have to go into your menu right over here and then simply go up, and then you're going to see the search box. And then in the search box, just type in remote start, and then you're going to see remote engine start right over here. Click on that. The biggest thing that you have to make sure is on is going to be this guy right here. You can see start engine for climate control. The reason why it is off by default, because again, it does depend on your state, your country, whether or not this is allowed. So that's why by default it is off. If you turn this on, then you can see right here that you do get a notification. Just make sure that your state allows it. Hit OK, and then now you can see that it's green. And then now you can use your BMW key fob to do it, or you can use your My BMW app to do it as well. Now, for those who purchase remote engine start, because now with vehicles with iDrive 8 in 2022 or newer, more likely than not, you can purchase remote engine start from the Connected Drive store as well. If for whatever reason you are not seeing this, what you have to do is yes, you do have to wait a nice 24-hour period for that software to enter your vehicle from over the air. The other thing that you could try in the meantime is update your apps and services. Again, the way that we did that was that we were in our main menu right here. Go into here and then just type in update. And then you can see right over here that we have update apps and services. Simply go into that and then search for updates and see if that helps make remote start appear in your system. Another complaint that many of us get about is that our seat setting and side mirror setting are not being saved. Now, even though you have a BMW ID or BMW profile, every single time you make an adjustment to your seat, your side mirror, and even if your steering wheel is powered as well, every single time you do have to hit set and then 1 in order to save that to your BMW ID. If you don't do that, then the next time you get into your vehicle, your seat is going to readjust back to wherever it was. So if you do want to make adjustments and have them saved, again, you do have to hit set and then 1 or 2 in order to get that saved to your BMW ID. Next up is going to be a tire pressure reset. Now, whenever we're entering wintertime, it is a good chance that our tires are not going to be the proper air. So more likely than not, we're going to fill up our tire and then we're going to need to know how to reset. Now, if you wanted to reset that tire monitor, what you would do is that you would have to go into your BMW menu right here. Simply go all the way down until you see vehicle status. Once you see vehicle status, click on that. And then you're going to see tire pressure monitor right over here. Go ahead and click on that. And then we're going to see nothing here right now because we are not driving, but you will have to drive in order for the vehicle to sense what type of tire PSI is going to be in your tires. If you're not sure what tire PSI to put in your tires, you can see that there are recommendations here. One for the rear, it's going to be 42 PSI. One for the front is going to be 36 PSI. But again, that varies pertaining to your BMW and whichever one you have. But again, this is where you would go to reset your tire pressure monitor. If you're not seeing it on here, simply just go into settings and then it'll appear here as well. Also, one major thing to mention, if you do change your own tires from summer tires to winter tires, be careful of this tire type because that you do have to change all by yourself whenever you do switch between summer tires or winter tires. If you don't do this, you will get an error saying that something is wrong with your tires. So definitely keep that in mind. Last but not least, we get tons of questions about iPhone priorities or phone priorities and how that can cause tons of issues for whenever multiple people get into the vehicle all at once. For this one, if you want to change your telephone priorities and if you wanted your phone to be the primary phone, there is a way to do that. Let me show you. For that, you're going to go into your main menu here. You're going to go all the way to mobile devices, which is going to be your second icon right over here. Click on that. Once you would have multiple phones selected, you're going to see all your phones pop up here. Now, say for example, you're the primary driver. Your phone is the one that should be the primary phone. If you wanted to set your phone as a primary phone, there is a way to do that. You would have to go into settings right over here, and then you're going to see telephone priorities right here. Click on that. And then if we had phones connected to the vehicle, we would see our phones here, and then you can drag and drop whichever phone you want to be the primary phone, and along with the rest of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that was helpful. Again, these tricks that we went over are gonna solve a ton of issues that you might have with BMW, so definitely give all these a shot first to see if you can solve things all by yourself. It is gonna be very, very helpful, and it will save you tons of time. So definitely make sure you know how to do each and every one of these, because I guarantee you eventually there will be a time where you're gonna have to use one of these little tricks. So it's definitely good to know about. Check out the key fob covers right down below. The links are right down below. Again, shipped through Amazon. You're gonna love it. If you guys had any questions, or if I missed anything, comment those down below and I'll try to provide an answer or even include it in the next video. So keep that in mind. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you guys for the next one.